If you actually are saying, I need this person to change, otherwise I'm going to be a mess because I'm not going to be able to leave, then really the power is completely with that other person, but you are the person given that power over. Welcome to States Unlocked. It's the place to learn about social psychology, human behavior, and also learn practical tips on how you can improve your life. If you would like to understand yourself and others better, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. This video is all about facing your fears and being prepared to face the consequences. We all have an amygdala in our brain, which is the fear center of our brain, and it is something we need for survival. It is there for a purpose and it is definitely useful. It can also be incredibly not useful because when we start to detect threats everywhere, it can start to control our lives, and we can start to develop a lot of fears. Now, most of these fears in the modern day are not actually helpful because the amygdala is designed to keep us alive, and if someone gives us a dirty look or judges us, that's not going to kill us, but sometimes this can actually trigger a lot of anxiety in certain people. It can make people feel judged and threatened and everything else, okay? So it really depends on the level of security you have, the amount of trauma you've gone through. If you do have a lot of fear, it's okay, because just like anything, it can be unlearned and it can actually be decreased through exposure and through actually starting to make different connections in our brains. The reason I want to make this video is because it can be really horrible when you fear abandonment, or you fear being left, or you fear people not liking you and things like this. When you have this fear, other people can manipulate you and control you very easily. And the reason I am making the video about confronting your fears and facing the consequences and being willing to deal with the consequences is because that is the key. When you can actually live with the consequences of whatever the hell you're scared of, it actually takes a lot of power out of the situation. So for example, let's say you are scared of someone leaving you, but they're treating you badly, but you are stuck in that situation because you are scared. You don't want to leave them. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to not be wanted, not be desired. You've put so much time and effort into this relationship and you fear losing all of it. But let's suppose that you actually were willing to walk away. You're willing to say, do you know what? I don't like this and I'm willing to deal with the consequences of you not being in my life. Yes, I may miss you in ABC area, but I'm not going to miss you in XYZ area. And so on balance, I can see it is not worth keeping this relationship in my life. But a lot of people don't do this because they're really scared of losing the relationship. They're really scared of being alone. This is something that is very primal, okay? So we don't want to be alone. We're a tribal species. We want to be part of a tribe, and we're wired to find families and actually try to build networks and things like this. The problem is when we need it, sometimes this can actually be really negative for us, okay? So we all have this need, but when we actually start to think, okay, I have this need and it can only be met through this one source, then you really set yourself up for failure. And sometimes you can actually be open to manipulative people because you think that that's all that you have access to. They can sense that you aren't serious, that you don't respect yourself enough to walk away, and you're too scared. My belief is that we actually have more senses than we realize. Okay, so we talk about the 5 senses, but I believe we actually have way more than that, to be honest. And I don't think that we are necessarily aware of everything. But for example, if someone doesn't necessarily have self-belief, we can just sense it, okay? And if someone is feeling fearful, sometimes we can just sense it. We pick up on things really organically, and some of us more than others, and especially if you are someone that's empathic and someone that struggles with codependency. Now, if you are someone that struggles with codependency, obviously you will know that it's not very nice. It can feel really powerless, and it can feel as if you are attached to another person and you don't want them to leave, and you feel enmeshed with another person's energy, and this isn't necessarily a good feeling. But the thing is, if you've had a childhood that has made you codependent, i.e. you have had to become aware of everyone around you and the needs of everyone else, the chances are you've become highly attuned to even the most subtle of changes in another person's energy field, in their emotions, in their facial expressions, etc., their tone of voice. So this can actually be harnessed to be a gift, and this can be harnessed to be something that really works for you if you let it. If you do struggle with codependency, the unfortunate thing about it is that you can end up attracting people that are quite self-centered and narcissistic and just really are going to take advantage of you. And this, I believe, is our lesson to actually integrate ourselves, because this is the opposite side of us that we have shoved down into the shadow. We've denied the self, and therefore we are attracting people that are all about the self seemingly, to actually integrate that part of ourself and become whole, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. People that have codependency issues, I believe the reason they attract narcissistic personality types is because this is the repressed aspect of the self. So they are trying to attract someone to integrate the part of themselves that they have denied and suppressed into the shadow. So if you are denying love in yourself, you find someone that is all about themselves and this will unconsciously integrate the pattern. But of course that doesn't work, because actually it is within us that we need to work on it. If we can actually face our fears and be willing to walk away from something, it really can take the power out of a situation, because while we might have to deal with the initial sting and it might really hurt, the reality is that we will survive and we will be okay. And this will actually teach our brain that, okay, nothing actually happened. Okay, I felt a lot of pain, and you could have felt a tremendous amount of pain to have to leave a relationship. I'm not negating that or minimizing that. But what I'm saying is, being willing to walk away really signals to the other person that you respect yourself. And does that mean they'll change? Not necessarily. But does it mean that you will be in control and have autonomy over yourself? Yes. If you actually are saying, I need this person to change, otherwise I'm going to be a mess because I'm not going to be able to leave, then really the power is completely with that other person, but you are the person given that power over. Being willing to walk away and deal with the consequences is extremely powerful, because people really can sense it. It's one thing to say, I'll walk away if you treat me badly, and it's another to actually mean it and do it. When you get to this place and you are okay being alone, and you are okay actually saying no to bad treatment, when you get to this point, my belief is that life actually reflects your new belief system, that you don't need this, you aren't willing to put up with this. So people either change their behavior and start to treat you with more respect, or they drop away from your life, which is a good thing, because if they aren't going to change to treat you with respect, you don't want them in your life anyway. I just wanted to make this video because this is something we can all get locked in at from time to time. If we have fears, they can really keep us stuck, and people can sense it, as I say, and not everyone's a kind person. Some people really are going to take advantage of it for all it's worth, and they are going to just use you, abuse you, take what they want from you, and then discard you sometimes. So it's really important to actually be aware that people can do this if you have this fear, okay? So it's really important that you address the fear. Now, our fears can be difficult to address at times, but it's totally possible. But I do believe we need to get to the root of what's causing them in the first place, and this is the belief system. So, for example, if you are scared of someone leaving, the belief underlying that might be, I cannot be alone. Which isn't necessarily true, because there's a lot of people who are alone but do not feel lonely, and this is not a problem for them, but they think about it very differently. They have different belief systems. And so if someone was going to come into their life and treat them like crap, they wouldn't necessarily put up with it, because they don't care about the consequences. They're fine to be alone. Let's say you're someone that does care about the consequences. Face them anyway. The people that are meant to be in your life will stick around regardless, and if you actually stop making the effort, the right people will start to make the effort most of the time. This just means that you are creating a more safe home within yourself, and it is not so dependent on the outcomes of other people's behavior, because you are good on your own, and then other people's behavior is an added addition to it, which you can accept or reject. If you do not have this mentality, then you know the other person's the puppet master and they are controlling everything, and that is definitely not what you want, because this is your life. You deserve to feel good, you deserve to feel empowered, you deserve to feel loved and cared for, and oftentimes these fears can lead to abusive situations, which are incredibly common. So if you're watching this and you think, well, actually I'm in that situation, or I can relate to this video, please do not feel alone, because this is an incredibly common pattern. This is something that we all struggle with from time to time to varying degrees in different situations. So do not think, okay, that I'm the only one, this is powerless. It is not powerless. But you do have to become aware and actually be willing to change some of the patterns, and you can totally do it. Thanks so much for watching. Like this video, please. It really helps me out. And subscribe to the channel if you would like to. I would really love to have you. And if you could leave a comment, I would love to hear from you as well. Just to let you know, I'm also offering live coaching sessions, which can be found on my Patreon, which is in the description of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the flip side. Ciao for now.